everybody, and hey, good morning or good afternoon or whatever time of the day you have currently there. So it's quite amazing how we can do these kind of sessions together, not having to travel, so that we can be wherever and share the information. So can you put the first slide, please?
Yes, give me 2 seconds just to share my screen. And I have the slides here. I'm gonna mute. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can see him, but somebody is not muted, so I can hear some conversation somewhere.
Let me check. Please, we ask everybody to keep your microphones muted so that we can all do this and listen well. Okay, it was here. Can you listen now? Just 1 second. Unmute.
Okay, seems that is.
Okay.
I don't have a competitor. So I very much like interaction, but maybe not in that form. Yes.
Okay.
So what is the aim of this session? So that what is my aim here? So that I'm here to tell you about the composite waste recycling in Finland. So this Kimura here is a logistic route that has been developed and it's working. And this Kimura, it's an acronym of some Finnish words. I don't go into detail, but it means something that it's recycled and shredded raw material. Yes, this very general thing to start with, so that we all know that the composites, they are very they are very environment friendly materials, that way that they are strong, they are tough, and the longevity is, I think, the key here, so that many of these products can be used tens of years, so that we are not speaking about these quick one-time used products or materials. Maybe this waste hierarchy is common to you already, so that Kimura lies here sort of quite down there between recycling and recovery. But what everybody is doing nowadays, so that the reduction of waste generation is the main key here, so that when we are developing more environment friendly materials, so that and technologies and design products to be used in more sustainable way. And this sustainable waste management is being developed all over the world. So reuse, repurpose are the easiest ways. Next, please. So there is this kind of a spider kind of a figure for you to look at, so that this is one circular economy model that is created for composite products. Of course, it could be any products. It can be generalized that way. So first we have somebody who supplies materials of which we can make products. Then somebody uses the product, and where the waste is coming for circulation, part of it is the production waste, because also always there is some left part and some scrap to be recycled. And then in the end of life situation, the users are bringing the materials to be reused. So this material has to be collected and sorted somehow, then the material has to be handled. This handling can be shredding and crushing. And then there will be several possible technologies to recycle the material. And with this, our Kimura route, so that we are recycling the material in cement clinker production. So that's one of those possibilities. And then, of course, energy and material utilization is possible. There are many operators here marked by yellow. Then the processes are marked with green, and then with this light blue or gray, there are these materials. What kind of materials are moving in this circular part? So this is something with which we started to develop our logistics. The next, please. So there are several recycling technologies for composite. Mechanical grinding is the most simple one, so that we are just grinding the material and then mixing it with something else. Then we have this pyrolysis, electromechanical treatment, solvolysis, fluidized bed technologies, and then finally this use of co-processing in cement production. We come back to that later, but I can already now say that these all technologies, they exist, but they are all ready to be used in industrial scale yet. The next one, please.
Just give me a second, I'm having trouble here. Okay.
Something we have to estimate when we think about how to recycle our material. What kind of composite do we have? Because the potential material value is very different for glass fibers than for carbon fibers. And then the process costs are very, very different with the various technologies. These co-processing and mechanical grinding, they are the most feasible ways in economical way, and the other technologies, the processes will have much larger costs. So you have to think what kind of a composite you have, and then what kind of technologies you have in use nationally, or if you want to work globally, that of course it's possible. The next one.
I'm sorry, I'm having some delays here in going to the next slide.
I think this is one of the most important slides here, this co-processing, the understanding what really is, what does it mean when we say that we utilize composite waste in cement industry? So I think even now, today, there is a lot of people who think that this utilization is a process where the composite is crushed and then it's mixed with some thermoplastic, and then some materials products are compression molded or extruded. But it's not, the co-processing means something else. But now there is somebody competing with me, I don't know.
Okay.
Yes, the glass fiber here in this co-processing technology is really a raw material for cement clinker. So it's burned in 1,500 degrees, where the material sort of, it can be said that it will be turned back to atoms. And then when the material after in the oven cools down, then it's totally a different material than the glass fiber that was fed in the reactor. And this raw material replaces the silicates, which are got, for example, from a sand in traditional cement processing. And when we have been trying to estimate that how much of this composite material can be taken to be fiber. So there is an estimate that at least 50% of composites is typically fiber. So we are there in the border between reusing and recycling. The plastic matrix there in the composite is an important part of this recycling also, because nowadays many industries are looking for this kind of a second fuels in their processes. So this SRF, so solid recycled fuel, so that any kind of a plastic is okay, something leftovers from the constructions or when the houses are turned down, this kind of a solid waste is very much required now when industry is thinking about its possible fuels. So we need this scrap composite here, then we need some heat and fuel. And then we put all that in the clinker, clean reactor, and then we get cement clinker for building and road making. So this is very important to understand, and when you are going to discuss about this, you have to understand this very well in order to be really able to tell what is going on here. The next one, please. So then to the Kimura exercise. So before we had this route, we had an exercise. That means that we tested the logistics, how to get the composite waste from industry to the utilization of it in cement industry. So, and we chose the cement industry way here because it's today the most sort of economic way to do it, and it's also technically very ready system. This exercise was partly financed by Ministry of Environment here in Finland. So the ministry also found it very important that we look for this kind of a system. How would it work in Finland? In the beginning, we have 7 composite making companies with us. We have had Kuusakoski as a recycler, Fincementti making the cement here, and then we have some federations here supporting the exercise and the whole system, so that Finnish Plastics Industries Federation, then the Boating Federation, and then Finnish Wind Energy Association have been very interested and supporting in this projects. Next one. Yes, and then of course it wasn't easy, but in this phase I have to be fair for you and say that we didn't really start from the beginning, because in Finland we have had 3 prior projects during 220s. So that lot of has been learned in those projects. For example, the sorting has been a big question here, because not every waste, you have to be very careful with the waste bit, but I come back to this little some slides later. So that what kind of a challenges did the industry and the composite companies have? So the sorting has to be taken care of in a different way, maybe, when we now want to have separated the composite waste. And then you have to think about where is it transported, because now Kuusakoski might be a different recycle than they have been using before. And some challenges for the industry, because always the money makes the world go round here, so that the amount of waste is quite scarce, so that the composite industry in Finland is not very big. And of course, industry doesn't want to make more waste than it's really have to. So that from the recycles point of view, there might not be enough composite waste. And then the waste here is geographically all over, sort of dispersed, so that in Finland, in next slide, there is a map for that, so that you have to think about the logics that way, that you have to transport the material. Here on the right-hand side, you can see the map of Finland. So if maybe not everybody knows Finland so well, we are a very small country, not maybe geographically quite small, yes, but we have only less than 6 million people here. So that might give you some kind of idea that the challenge, idea of the challenges here. But we decided here to get sort of a nationwide system for composite waste. So the situation in the beginning, so that we had these blue ones here, they are the composite companies, composite making companies that we had in the beginning. Then we have these 7 collecting points with red dots. So we tried to go that way, that nobody wouldn't have a too long way to transport their waste. Then there is only one point in Finland where the material is shredded or crushed. That's in southern Finland at Hyvinkää. And then the cement industry that takes care of the utilization of the material is in eastern part here, dotted by the yellow dot. So these companies had to deal with, as I said, so that collecting their waste, and then the amount of companies nowadays, it has more than doubled from the beginning. So that many companies have found it important to take their waste to recycling. And then this organization, the transport of the composite waste, if the company is small, it doesn't have the waste amount is small, then now you have to have 2 bins, one for the composite waste and one for the mixed. And then maybe both these goes to different address. What does the recycler here does do, so that the Kuusakoski, it has been all the way from 2021, it has been optimizing its shredding technologies. They have been investing a lot for that, so that they believe that composite recycling is beneficial for them. And then also the logistic have been developed, so that in the beginning they have these, was it 6 or 7 places where they collect the material. Now it's almost all over the Finland, not in very north parts, they don't have collecting points. But that network has been developing. And we can say that Fincementti, who is making the cement, so that this raw material part that comes from composite waste, it's just a benefit for them, and they run their processes as usual. So as I've been saying, that we have we have started from the waste from industry, because that's the easiest part. There we really know what the material is, but we have been going towards the end of life products. So first trials with windmill blades was carried out 1 year ago. So of course here you have to check the materials of these plates if they are suitable for cement industry. But in Finland, we have done that already. So from the beginning of this project, more than 1,000 tons have been recycled. This is a very practical slide for you if you work in a if you work in a composite industry and you think of how to start recycling. So everything starts from the sort of floor of your company. So of course this goes with other waste collection too, but you have to think about the places of the bins that are used. They have to be in practical places. Many companies need some dumpsters outside, and that is very important because, of course, in Finland we have snow, but of course it rains everywhere in the world. This material has to be kept as clean as possible and as dry as possible in order for it to work out well in the shredding process. And then the transportation to recyclers. Of course, that costs some money, and maybe, as I said, so that they go mixed waste and composite go to different addresses. But it hasn't been a very big problem for the companies that take part to this route. And it's very important to involve workers so that plan together, make the instructions together. And of course, somebody who is responsible has to check the bins so that there isn't anything else than there should be, because in those first projects, there were some clothing and old bicycles in the composite bins, and that wasn't really appropriate. In the next slide, I have an example of the instruction sheet. You don't have to, maybe this is with a too small font for you, but the idea is here that you have to have 1-page sheet to tell the company personnel that what is suitable for the recycling bin, what can be maybe used, but you have to discuss with cement industry with this, so that is it okay or is it not? And then with the red ones, very clearly you have to mark that what is definitely not suitable for recycling. So very clear instructions is an important thing here. Yes, the next one. So today we have this running route, and we use this cement clean production. But I want to say in this phase that we are not stuck in this co-processing. We are making it this way because this is technologically and economically possible. But then after some years, when they will be those other technologies will be ready, then we can go with those, and it's fine. But for all these technologies, you have to collect the material inside of the company. You have to collect it together and shred it somehow, because many of these products are quite big in the structures. So we are not stuck in this, but we are using this because it's possible. And this interest of having this defined as officially recycling has been very much in the tables at Europe too. So UCIA is a composite association in Europe, so that it's like I'm in a composite group in Finland, though this UCIA, it brings together all the composite associations in Finland, then in Europe, CEFIC, and then Sembiro from cement industry. They have they have communicated EU very effectively for this recycling status. But it's very challenging that way that in Europe there isn't one way to do this, and inside nations, so that nationally there can be variation how they deal with their composite waste. That way we are lucky to be a small country and now having the nationwide system that we can show that it's possible. So there are some challenges in cement industry. So the technologies are developing and developed. Maybe somebody was already checked that in those previous lists we were saying that PVC is not good for recycling, but it's not true everywhere, because I know that depending on the technology of the cement industry, cement company, PVC can be okay. And in some technologies, carbon fiber is not okay, but in Finland, at Fincementti project, process takes carbon fiber really well. So that there isn't only one type of cement process. And depending on that, we have to check very carefully what raw materials can be used. Cement industry takes very well care about CO2 emissions and the availability of SRF. This was this solid recovery fuel. So nowadays, when many industries are using this SRF, so some of that has been imported from France to Finland in order for our industry to use it. So it's another kind of a sort of situation that maybe 5 years ago we wouldn't have imagined that this could happen. And then this classification of emission trading. So co-processing is not, there are some fees for that, but for example, for solvolysis and pyrolysis, the emission, they are more beneficial from the point of view of emission trading. So there are many players in many levels in this game. And then one thing is that to involve the composite industry nationwide and Europe-wide and worldwide to use this, to go to recycling. The next one, please. The future views in England, as I said, in Finland. So we try to get the message to Finnish composite industry. We try to get them involved. So maybe today we have 20% of our composite companies taking their waste to Kimura route. And of course, it's money that is important. So this investment for shredding technology at our recycler most probably decreases the price for Kimura route. And then because this co-processing or taking the material to somewhere else than the mixed waste, the mixed waste in Finland goes to the incineration, where the heat is recovered. And of course, when you run a company, you have to think that sort of, is it important enough to think about recycling, or do I need my euros to take the composite waste with other mixed waste? Because at least in Finland, most of the composite waste goes very well with the mixed waste. The mixed waste has a limit somewhere. If you have a very high high amount of fibers in your products, then there will be difficulties in handling it in incineration processes. But the most usual grades go very well there, so that there are possibilities. Then a big question here is the end-of-life products. So we have make trials with these windmill blades. Okay. Then we have got some airplane parts here. Some piping and barrels from process industry go very well. Of course, when you are using these pipes or barrels or reactors in process industry, they have to be cleaned very well in order to get to be suitable for a cement industry. Then boats, small boats have been recycled here. So this end-of-life thing is a big question to be solved somewhere in the near future. If we think about end-of-life products from consumers, some kind of rackets and sticks and helmets. So it's a very big question if the consumer can sort of define whether is it composite or not, and then find out where to take it. But these big end-of-life products, the system is ready for them. Yes, the next one. And I think that the business environment is changing quite quickly today. So there is a growing interest towards recycling, and industry tells me that many clients today, they at least ask, if not require, so that what do you do with the waste? How can what will I do when I don't use the material or the equipment anymore? And these challenges have to be taken care of. Industry is quite ready to take their own products back, and of course they can then reuse them, or then they know how to lead the material, for example, to our Kimura route. And here, when we develop new products, there are many kind of new materials, raw materials, and then design points of view, how to make products that are easier to be recycled. Then the next one, please. This is an extremely busy slide for you, but don't worry. This is just sort of collecting everything that I spoke in last few slides together. So there will be new materials, there will be new processes, there will be new users of composites, because we are seeing the potential of composite as a material in many new applications coming very strongly in the future. So that everything, all the materials, all the technologies throughout this circular economy model, they are developing, and then we get new goals and get new ways to recycle and reuse the materials. Maybe many of you have already seen some, at least in Denmark, they have been making some bike sheds or new bridges from the windmill blades. So when the product made out of composite might be big, then you can make big structures out of them. Unfortunately, if you have a windmill blade and it has to be taken down so that in end of its life, it's really in end of life, so that you can't make a new windmill blade out of that. You have to invent something else. And I think now it's time for me to thank you for your attention. In this last slide, there are my contact information, and Mr. Mika Mustakangas has been running this Kimura with me. He works at Patria Group, one of our companies, but please contact us if you want to have more information of this Kimura and composite recycling here in Finland. We have something here also at our Finnish Plastics Industries Federation homepages, also in English, short presentations. And maybe I could put these slides from this presentation there too, if you want to come back to them. Yes, thank you for your attention.
Period. Thank you so much for your presentation. I think this is a really important matter, as I told you at the beginning, for companies, not only in Colombia, but in the world, and especially in Latin America. I think we are still lacking a lot of things to do to get to the point that you are today. And maybe I would like to ask you for an advice for our companies that are beginning in this path. What would you say to them? Or what would be your advice for them?
I think sort of you somehow have to collect the logistics. It's important. It's easy for any company to start sorting the material or the waste, but if you don't have the recycler and the user of the material, so that you have to take care of whole the route from the waste to who is going to take care of it in the end.
Thank you very much.
Some kind of a network is needed.
Yes. Period. Thank you very much. I don't know if we have any questions from the participants or any comment. Feel free to interact right now and to tell us any comment or question that you may have. Maria del Pilar.
Hi, Virgil. Thank you for all the information that you share with us. I would like to know, what will you recommend us to foster the collaboration between or among the actors, different companies, government, because it's an issue that we have here. So it will be nice to understand that.
I don't know, in Finland it worked that we have this kind of association, the Finnish Plastics Industry Association, and we are somehow the knot that brings together the industry and different players here, so that you have to find the starting knot somewhere, and then some starting loop, I'm a knitter, so that the idea is that first you have the first loop and then you start to knit the whole network together. So that.
Did they have to pay something to be part of the project?
Yeah.
I know that you were founded by the government, financed by the government, but I don't know if they are already paying something to be part of the project.
No, the government doesn't play here any role. So the government is just looking at what we are doing, and the ministry is very much appreciating and discussing with us. So that what the companies have to pay is the fees for the recycler. And of course, organizing their own sorting, but that is the fee they have. But of course, now they also pay somebody to take out their trash.
Okay, and what they are paying is similar what they used to pay before the project?
In the beginning, I must admit that it's a little bit more, but when the network is increasing, and as I told you that the recycler has been investing to some new equipment, the price will come down. And of course, you never know what will happen to the price for your mixed waste incineration or wherever you take the material to be handled. So that, yes, I
Okay.
think in the beginning it might be a little bit more expensive, but at least in Finland, the composite companies find it competitive enough way to
Okay, and I have
recycle
a
the
last
material.
question. Okay, thank you. I have a last question. What was the minimum volume that you discovered to do the co-processing? It was 1,000 tons?
Tons, yes,
Yeah, that was the
during these
minimum.
2 years, and it's increasing by year. Of course, in the beginning, the amount was quite small when the companies were rehearsing with their sorting and transporting, but it's increasing.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Billy. Just before we go to Suhas, I think I don't know if I'm pronouncing okay, but we had a question in the chat regarding what we wwere talking with Maria del Pilar, and it's about the prices, and they are asking if you can share more or less what are the fees that companies are paying. I don't know if you have this information right now here, but maybe they contact you and you can have like this conversation maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Email or something.
As a
Right.
as a federation member, I'm not very much allowed to speak any money things.
Yeah.
very, very sort of in
Yes,
a euro dollar way, so that I can
yes.
give
I
some
think the
hints,
fact
but
is
not
you
really prices.
can write an email and maybe you can have a more private conversation or whatever. So
Yes.
Suhas, I'm not sure if I am pronouncing right your name, but
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely
I give you
perfect.
the floor.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. Very useful.
Are you listening, period?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So just one question from my side. So congratulations on taking this step forward in the first thing. It's an important topic that's been ignored for years and ages. My work area is located in India, Middle East, and USA. My question is that, is Kimura having any plans of portability of the recycler? Do you have any plans for if a company or association wants to look at your technology and put a recycling system in the region, say Middle East or Asia or the US, what is the collaborative route for that?
We are ready to discuss with anybody.
Okay. So it is a portable technology which can be replicated at locations around the world.
Yes, I think so. And of course, with a recycler, you have to contact them, and with a co-processor, you have to contact with them, so that this is not a one industry. This is a combination of, or a route kind of thing, so that no one actor is owning this thing.
Right. So what would be the next steps? For example, if we want to do a pilot in Bahrain in the Middle East, what would be the next steps? Would you be the first line of contact to get to you with an interest, and then you would divert us to the stakeholders who would actually be involved in discussing in detail for setting up a facility? What would be the communication route for me?
Yeah, as I said to Maria Pilar, so that I don't know who would be then the first, not there in your country or then your area, to start with a thing.
No, if I want to start from my area, would you be the point of contact to begin with?
I can only share my information, but I'm not providing any service for you. I don't know your country.
Correct.
I don't know your companies. I don't know.
Correct. So whom would be then for Kimura? What's Kimura? Is it an organization that would put together a proposal to set up the things in my country? Is that the way it works? Just want to understand porting this technology in regions outside Finland.
Yes, something that I can provide you is information like this kind of a presentation, but I'm not working in I'm not operating anywhere else
I do
than
understand. That's right. Yeah.
in Finland. Yes.
Okay.
But here in Finland, it worked that way that we have this association where I work, and we are the first not, because we have naturally connections with companies, and then we found those cooperations. To find the recycler, we know the recyclers, and in the beginning we requested that who would be interested in developing this, and then this one came up that way. And we have only one cement producer in Finland, so and of course they had to be interested in a project or a route, developing a route like this in the beginning.
Excellent. Okay. So we will be speaking to a cement manufacturer, and once we have a cement manufacturer identified, we just take your help in patching us with the recyclers. What I'm looking for is an information from you as to if we have. I am a composites industry person. So if I identify a cement industry that is willing to participate, I need the missing link in between. So we are a composites manufacturer, we're a cement manufacturer. So we need the missing link in between who would be able to provide us the equipment and technology that has been implemented in Finland to fill the gap. So to create a facility where recycling would happen. So I would write to you with this interest, and then you can divert us to the routes through which we can get to the recyclers. Okay, got it. Thank you. Thanks for taking this leadership in making this webinar. It's an excellent effort, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't know if we have any other questions or anybody else who wants to give a comment. Okay, period. I just wanted to do like a little question here, going back to what you were talking with Maria Pilar. I understand that the project is made by the guild, by the association and the companies. But do you have any kind of alliance with the government to foster the project or the route? Like, do you have any alliance to, for example, make it like stronger within the companies or anything?
So that we have had a discussion with the government, but they haven't made any rules for recycling of composite industry. Composite industry is a very small one compared to the general plastics industry. They have route maps for plastics industry and circulation of plastics packaging as in many countries. But this composite part, they are today like learning from us.
Okay, awesome. Well, you're doing a really great work there.
Yeah, we try to be the first ones, so that not to somebody who is not so specialized in the area to make some rules, but as a sort of professionals of composite, we try to give the government guidelines which would be profitable for them and for us and for everybody.
Amazing. Really. I don't know if anybody else wants to say something. Billy, maybe Gustavo, I'm not sure.
Hola. Yes.
Hola.
Hola. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for sharing this important information. It's a really nice process. We are in Latin America, and here is really hard because anybody wants to pay nothing to do this kind of process that is hard for us, but well, we are trying to start, and we are trying to link with different companies. But I'm working right now in a saturated polyester resin producer, and of course I want to know who was the role of the resin producer at the beginning of this process?
So that who really started the idea of having this kind of a system? That's what you are asking.
Yes,
Yes. So that in our Finnish Plastics Association has this composite group, which has like 30 composite companies as a members. And amongst these member companies who discuss with each other, the need of this has been growing during years. And as I said, that now we have this route, but we have researched, we have rehearsed it in 3 previous projects in order to get the logistics right. So that the start came from composite companies who were willing to take the next steps towards recycling of this material.
okay. Another question is about cement producer. Have they to do any special modification of their process to recycling composite materials?
No, they are not ready to do that. So that they are setting us requirements for the quality of the waste we are taking there, so that they make very sharp chemical analysis of the material. And really, the information sheet that I shared you in the slides, they have been writing that, they have been telling us that what is okay and what is not okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Pirjo.
Thank you.
Billy, you wanted to say something? Billy and then Jonathan.
Yeah, I didn't raise my hand, but sorry, Jonathan. Pirjo, how was the when we are working with a lot of actors again, because I know this is about collaboration. Have you thought to work or to replicate this initiative in another country? I know that you're working just in Finland, but are you working with another European country trying to replicate what you are doing?
I would like to say yes by giving this kind of presentations.
Okay.
But since Kimura is not paying for me anything, so that this is just part of my everyday work to share the information, so that we are ready to give the model and explain what we are doing. But our Fincementi, yes, it has production plants in Europe, not only in Finland. But I think our recycler, it works only nationally. So the model can be taken and no license have to be paid. License fees for us. So that.
Yeah, I mean, like step by step, just trying to follow what you have done. Because, for example, right now here in Colombia, I've been talking with Maria Jose, trying to understand what we have to do. The first thing that we are doing is trying to collect the data that we need to understand about the volume, how much producers have in their plants. We don't have those numbers right now, so this is like our first start. But I know that maybe with all the experience that you already have, it will be easier for us. I know we are also in another context, but it will be easy to understand how we can negotiate or
Mm,
trying
mm,
to make agreements, models with all the companies that we have to collaborate among us. So it would be nice if we can have that kind of conversation with you.
yeah, maybe it now starts to sound that I should write more than just that 2-page
Okay.
paper about what is going on.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Jonathan.
Oh, hi, thank you. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for your presentation. It was a very, very nice project, and actually is one of the things that we are aiming to do here. We are trying to help the market, the clients to start recycling composites here in Colombia. I have a question regarding maybe the resin producers, because I work in the same
Mm.
company as Gustavo, and I'm thinking if do you have any output from this project that relates to the requirements that maybe a new PR resins need to have uh, to get an easier process of recycling a composite? Or maybe do you know who has this answer, or with what company we can talk about it? Because we are in the role of the resin producers, so
Mm,
it would be nice to think about that.
yeah. So that from the cement industry point of view, anything goes if there isn't chlorine or any other halogens in the material. So because
Okay.
the resin is there as a fuel, not as a raw material of the cement.
Okay. Thank you. What an awesome project, and for sure we have a big step forward to create a network that works here in Colombia in order to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Well, Pirio, I don't want to take more time for you. I know it's late there. Maybe Gustavo, you have a final question? I think that this
Oh,
would be the
please,
final question just because we are extending the time.
please. It's a really short question. It's about a comment about of Jonathan said that contents of chlorine compounds. What happened, for example, with poles that have a top coat with a little bit amount of chlorine, of course, to flame retardant. The poles can't be recycling with this top coat. We have to sand the top coat. I don't know if you know about this.
Yes, Fincement, this process can take only very, very small amount of chlorine. But I know that in Germany, for example, there are this project of Holcim, and chlorine is not a problem for them. So that there are different kind of cement processes, and they have different kind of requirements for the material that they can take in.
Okay, thank you. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gustavo. Well, now, right now, looking at the time now, I think, Period, you also need to rest because I think it's late there and you've been working all
No
day. So
problem.
thank you so much for all your time, for explaining everything to us. I think this is an amazing project. People is really interested in what's happening there. We might talk to you again and contact you again, maybe to do something bigger here or whatever. So thank you so much for giving us this presentation, and we'll keep in touch.
Yes, thank you for inviting me, and it is a pleasure to discuss about this important and interesting issue with all of you.
We're thrilled to have this conversation with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you everybody for coming and for joining us. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.